what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now?
Yeah, I would say the biggest challenge right now is making sure that I'm balancing both work. So I actually work full time. So I'm in the office from 8 to 5 or 8 to 7. It just depends sometimes. So I'm having to balance working every day, Monday through Friday, and then coming home and studying. So I just also wanted some tips or when you would recommend the best times to study. I've looked on your blog and I've read through some stuff, and that's really helped as well. But I just wanted like a little more information on what you think would be best.
Yeah, of course. Well, I've shared plenty in general already out there, as you've seen. So I guess since we have the chance to connect here one on one, I'd love to really dive into specifically your schedule, your best available times when you're feeling fresh and energized and ready to conquer this thing. So you said 8 to 5. That leaves before work, possibly during work, and then,
Hmm.
of course, after work. So if you look at your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being full energy, 1 being you're almost asleep,
Yeah.
where would you be at where you're like, let's say 8 or above? What times of day do you find that?
I would say waking up early. I've woken up early to work on projects and even my undergrad, like and things that I was studying for tests. I would say the window between like 3 to 5 a.m. is when like my brain is like super awake, unless I'm asleep. So, but if I like make an effort to stay up, I'm like fully awake from like 3 to 5. So it's kind of weird. And then I would say like after coming home from work, if I can like fit in like a nap or something, and I wake up from, I would say from like 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. is when I'm like, okay, I'm really awake right now.
Okay, well, that's very good to know. And I'll be honest, like the 3 to 5 a.m. thing is a little bit weird, but we'll go with it. I get it. I get it though. I mean, if you're up at that time, it's unique, it's special. Very few other people are up at that time, and so it's possible that something really compelled you to be awake at that time. And some people do their best work at that time, especially work of a creative nature. I found. So I guess the question is, would being awake at 3 to 5 a.m. consistently serve you in all areas of your life to feel fresh, and would that be sustainable?
Probably not. I would have to go to sleep pretty early. Like today, I actually got to work a little bit earlier because I went to sleep a little bit earlier as well. So I would just have to figure out like if I were to be studying during 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., then I would probably have to go to bed at like 9.
And you could do that. You could shift your sleep schedule to the point where you go to bed at 9, you wake up at 3. 6 hours of sleep probably isn't ideal to have on a long-term basis, but it could work for the short term. Or maybe you want to go to bed 7 or 8. It
Hmm.
requires a total life restructuring, and other people might miss out on time with you and vice versa, but that could be a time to get some studying done.
Hmm.
Alternatively, if you didn't want to do something quite that radical, I think that doing your studying from 8 to 11, assuming sufficient energy, could be fine. You go to bed at 11, you wake up at, I don't know, 6 or 7 a.m., you still have your work at 8. That's probably a more standard schedule that I think could work for you. And so just carving at that time, 8 to 11, blocking it off, nothing else gets in the way. Like, for example, Netflix, for example, or computer stuff that is not serving the LSAT prep specifically.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. I
Of
think that
course.
right now, since I know that I have limited time, my exam is scheduled for April 10th. So I'm really, really trying to get in these 3 months of studying and kind of balancing. I guess that would be like my next question as well. Kind of balancing the Supreme course with the 3 month study schedule and making sure that I'm using the study schedule, but also using the videos and the course that you've provided as well. So I just wanted to like kind of see what would be your best recommendation on how to juggle the two and make sure that I'm covering both?
Of course. Yeah, well, they work in the exact same order. So my recommendation for you would be basically use the study plan to cover topics of a particular area. So let's say grouping matching games or logical reasoning strengthening questions. You complete those portions of the schedule covering the basics, watch the related course lesson videos on those exact same topics, and then go back to the schedule to do several problems of that type.
Mhm.
So the
Okay.
schedule might link you to various articles covering that topic. And then the videos give you both short bite-sized videos covering the basics and then recordings of full-length classes covering those topics in more depth. And so once you've gotten that strong foundation in that question type, you can then do several problems of that type as I have them categorized.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So learn all the information, then go into the course. Well, the course also has like videos where you're learning the information, and then go back to the study schedule and do the practice problems that are on there.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because that's kind of how I've been trying to do it. But I'm not gonna lie, I was getting a little bit overwhelmed just because I wanted to make sure that I was covering everything. But there's certain things that, I would probably have to invest more time in, like the videos that are longer versus the videos that are shorter. So,
Right. And one cool thing about the longer ones is that basically it's covering that topic with tons of examples in a live interactive format where students are asking questions, we're taking things in different directions, really fleshing them out. So you have that available if you want. Like if you want the 40 to 60-minute in-depth version, the live class recording will cover that. If you want the bite-sized version, just summarizing it, you can get that in much less than 10 minutes, sometimes even 3 to 5 minutes.
mhm. Yeah, I've been doing, well, last week I did some of the orientation videos, and then this week and weekend I've also been working on the first section of all the videos. So that's been really great. So right now I believe I'm on the strict logic games, and those are
Nice.
the things that I'm working through. Yes,
Perfect. Great. Well, I'm glad that you've been digging into it.
yes. Okay, so I guess um, another one of my question would be, so in terms of the timeline, I know I already have the 3-month study schedule. Is there anything else that I can be doing? Because I have all of the Power Score, all their books. I have some of their practice tests as well, that like the book that provides the practice test. Is there any way that I can also link the practice that they're giving me and the explanations that they're giving me with your course as well?
Yeah, very easily. I would just say basically use that like you would use the relevant parts of the schedule linking my articles. So if you're reading my articles summarizing things related to that question type, you can then read the book chapters covering that same question type and then do practice problems of that type as well that they have in their books and their explanations. I mean, things won't always be the same because they might use different terminology, but they're a reasonably good quality source of material as well if you like it. So the question is really more, let's say you want to go in depth. Do you prefer the live class recording or do you prefer the textbook chapter? You can do both, but I wouldn't want you to weigh yourself down with too much material covering the same thing because then it's like, well, this is another good book. That's another good book. If you just start adding them all on, it's like you don't need 5 different textbooks all covering introduction to biology, right? Like one of them is sufficient. And there might be some variations between different sources, but at a certain point, it becomes too much to do over this 3-month period.
Yeah, and I think that that's what like I said, it has been overwhelming me because I do have the Power Score that, one of my friends is able to lend me and stuff. So it's just been kind of overwhelming where it's like, I want to do really well. And I have all this information, but it's like, when I go and look at all of this information, I get really overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. So I think that's been like the biggest challenge for last week, and now we're starting this week, so I'm trying to be a little more positive about it. But last week I felt very overwhelmed with everything that I have.
I understand. I mean, the textbook chapters can be kind of a slog to get through sometimes. Like they're not always the most exciting, right? So, I mean, I would say maybe if the videos are more your style, then I would recommend going to the videos first. And then if you want more, then you could go to the textbook chapters, but I consider those optional. And also consider there's going to be there's live online classes too.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so you can attend those, and those are going to be a lot more engaging than reading a book, and even more engaging than watching a video also because it's happening live. You can help direct what we cover in class. When students ask questions, I take those very seriously, and they could take us in a totally different direction. I'm not lecturing some pre-prescribed outline with tons of notes. The problems are our agenda. I'll do some Q&A at the beginning, then I'll have a couple of problems lined up, we may not get to all of them. We may take one problem and go super in depth on it. Or a student may request we focus on a different element of the problem from a different angle. So I'll do that too.
Yeah, I really like the videos, and that's kind of the way I learn stuff. I like watching the video, then taking notes on the video, and then going back and reviewing my notes. I feel like that's really been helping me understand the concept. So those are really, really helpful.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear it, Sarah.
I think those were all my questions. I think it just really was on like, since I am diving into studying now, I don't have like particular questions about particular games or anything like that yet. But I think it's just more on like getting my head right to take on the exam and to take on the studying as well.
Fantastic. Well, I'm so glad we got the chance to connect now, Sarah. Please keep in touch and let me know if you need anything moving forward. And when you do have questions and such, just shoot them over and we can cover them in upcoming class too.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you again.
My pleasure. Of course. Have a good one. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.